Hello everyone, and welcome to whatever I'm calling this. I have not yet decided, but this is World of Warcraft Cataclysm Classic. We'll get into why I'm playing Cata in a minute. You may notice I've already made some attempts to play through Classic. These are characters which were made during the various eras. Of course, they have automatically transferred across as the eras have evolved, but I just fancy making a dwarf warrior, and just questing through World of Warcraft Cataclysm. To be fair, what I want to do, the need, doesn't specifically have to be Cataclysm. I considered Classic Anniversary, so like Vanilla, and I considered War Within. But I think where my heart is right now is that Mists of Pandaria Classic is coming out soon, and I started playing properly, in earnest, during Mists of Pandaria, so it would be nice to have a full level toon in time for that. I don't know if I'm going to manage that, if I'm honest, especially since this is going to be like a meandering, just taking in the sights, playing the game because I feel like doing it kind of a thing, but, and also like not queuing for dungeons or anything, but I just don't want to overthink it. I just want to do this. Sorry to interrupt, so basically I make the decision fairly soon to just not bother reading the quest text because that's not the vibe I'm going for, so in the interest of keeping things uniform and clean, I'm just going to skip over these bits until I get to that point. But yeah, don't need auto attack on a bar, of course. I've not played a warrior during Cataclysm, so bear with me while I get my bearings. Oh, hang on, yeah, okay. I have got all of my options set up as I want. This is not my very first time logging into this character, but yeah! World of Warcraft! It's a thing. I guess we might as well have a ramble about World of Warcraft for a minute. I haven't really played it since the War Within came out, and I played through the War Within campaign. And I enjoyed that, I did. But the Goblin patch which is out now does not appeal to me. I've got a sub, so I might check it out. But it just doesn't really appeal to me as a theme, as a place to go, as a part of a world to explore. And I don't want to like start this video off with a criticism of the game or anything, but the way the World Soul Saga was sold was, you know, kind of a big focus on story on par with Final Fantasy XIV. And, you know, it has achieved that in many ways, but seeing us go from like, there's this big city underground full of Nerubians, and then we deal with that in a raid, and then we wait with no story content for ages, and then we're going to this random island, and then we're going to see the goblins. It just feels like World of Warcraft storytelling, like I would expect it to. It doesn't feel progressive. I'm sure there is stuff which progresses the overall narrative, but yeah, nothing to really draw me back into retail right now. I will get caught up at some point, don't you worry. Plus 14, plus 21, I think that's what we'll be going with. I'm on it, my guy. I'm on it. So, yeah, World of Warcraft, I did play a bit during Burning Crusade. People who have followed the channel might have seen me talk about this stuff before. They might already know it. Do we not have, like, the blue quest markers showing up on the minimap yet? Is that a Mists of Pandaria thing? Oh, okay. Well, we're going to be checking the map often in that case. Cool. So I need to kill you guys even though you're not showing up as quest dudes. Alright. Excuse me while I reacclimatize to an older version of the game. It's been a minute since I played some Cataclysm. I ran the odd dungeon for the weekly waypoint, but other than that. But yeah, Cataclysm feels very familiar to me because Mists of Pandaria is an expansion to Cataclysm, doesn't shake up the base game that much, with Cataclysm kind of being the new base game from... you kind of got like Vanilla, then BC and Wrath as like a bundle, it feels like, and then Cataclysm kind of reinvented the base game. So that's kind of a way I've always seen it. I doubt that's a unique perspective. But as someone who started in Mists, the Cata version of the game feels very familiar to me. And you might have seen Crescendra in the character list there. She's the character I made when Cataclysm came out, and yeah, I had a really good time playing her up to like level 35 or whatever. Problem is, you do level a little slowly in this version of the game compared to the newer version. But it's fine. Hey, my guy. All better. Hey, lass. All better. I totally missed the Mists of Pandaria announcement, by the way. Alright. Alright, jeez, stop complaining at me. Oh, you're fine. Alright, never mind. Yeah, I missed the announcement for some reason. It was like 4 months ago they announced Mists of Pandaria Classic. Probably just because it was expected, and Kata Classic hadn't been out for that long when they announced it. So there wasn't really a big fuss that was made about it, I suppose. But it's coming out, I saw on the store page, it's like before August, I think it said, so sometime this summer probably. Many of those that you've saved have already made it back to camp. The wounds are well dressed. You might have a future in first aid if you're into that sort of thing, at least until they get rid of it in a few expansions. Spoiler alert. We appreciate your help out there, but then, you know what? I'm not feeling story mode right now. I'm not feeling reading the quest text. It's interrupting my thoughts too much. We're just gonna go brrr. We're just gonna zoom through the zones. I'll try and remember to put a little text highlight when I was talking about it earlier to just warn people about this change of my mind. I thought that said level 7 then. I was like, what the fuck? How's Doric already level? Anyway, yeah, see, I've already lost my train of thought. But we're chill. This is a chill thing. My aim for these videos is you can just kind of stick them on in the background. This is meant to be like second monitor content. Kind of akin to a live stream, but pre-recorded. And you can just have it on your monitor. And hear me ramble about World of Warcraft, I guess. Can't buy anything from you yet. Do we want to bother with like first aid and stuff? Is that even in here? I suppose we should if we're going to be a warrior. We might as well. Also, what professions are we going to want? I'm not sure there's profession trainers here. I think it's just the... class trainers. We've got some time to think about that. That's fine. I mean, blacksmithing makes sense. Mining, blacksmithing. I do already have a warrior on these realms. I have Desmodius, who... I was playing during BC Classic. I don't mean to lock each character to an era, it's just usually when a new era launches, I go, I don't want to continue a stinky old character. I want to roll a new character. Actually, as I'm playing this, I am remembering the whole, like... Pardon me, quests not showing up on the minimap and having to constantly open the map to check where I'm supposed to be going. Ah, Keg of Normanbrow. I decided to roll Dwarf, partially because I love Dunmoreau, but partially because I have a growing love of dwarves as like a fantasy race. Because last month I read the first Gotrek and Felix novel, which is part of the Warhammer universe, the Warhammer Fantasy universe before they rebooted it as Age of Sigmar. Although Gotrek is also in Age of Sigmar, I've heard. And Gotrek the Dwarf, I love that guy. He's awesome. I considered seeing if I could remake Gotrek, but I didn't for two reasons. First of all, I couldn't get the right hairstyle because he has a mohawk, and second of all, the name's probably already taken, let's be real. But yeah, this is why we're doing a Dwarf Warrior, just because while World of Warcraft dwarves are of course different to Warhammer Fantasy dwarves, it's... these are the fucking forgotten dwarven artifacts we're looking for. Just little bumps in the snow. Highlight mode can't come soon enough. Anyway. Yeah, I just... Thanks to Gotrek, I've always quite loved dwarves in fantasy. Like, the new Irvin, I think they're called Irvin, right? In War Within that you can play. Most people's favourite zone is Hallowfall. I actually think mine might be the Isle of Dawn at the top, just because of all the Irvin lore. I love those guys so much. And I was really excited to be able to make mine. But of course, that is fairly different to like the standard dwarf archetypes in fantasy. But yeah, I've just got this growing love for dwarves, and Gotrek from the Gotrek and Felix novels is definitely speeding that up to the top of my fantasy races list. I also love elves because I love long-lived characters, or like functionally immortal characters. I think they can be fascinating, so I love elves and vampires and stuff. My first character and my main character in WoW has always been a night elf. Yeah, pardon me for skipping the quest text. I have done this about 700 times, and to be fair, you might have as well, so maybe it is a good thing that I'm skipping the quest text after all. But yeah, WoW dwarves are different to Warhammer dwarves, of course, but I love them. These short, stout little shits. They're fun. They're fun characters. Okay, there's another one over here. Good lord, I could not find these forgotten dwarven artifacts for a little while. Hopefully there's another one nearby. But yeah, that's one... That's one, I guess... What's the word? Advantage to recording these instead of streaming. And that's that. I have time to think. I have time to look for stuff that I can't find, and I can just cut the boring bits out. Of course, I don't want to do too much cutting out because, you know, my aim is to record in half-hour chunks, and I don't want to end up with, like, a 25-minute video followed by, like, a 7-minute video. But all the same. Hey, we've got a player over here. It's Fabiest. I never say my THs correctly. So that's something I'm working on. Fabiest, not Fabiest. Fabiest. That's difficult. I don't know why that's difficult, but it is. Hey, here's your shit. Enjoy. And you, drink in moderation. That's probably not a very helpful thing to tell a dwarf. Alright, cool. Oh, I can charge! Oh, that's right, we don't need to go to the trainers to learn abilities, do we? But they have them. Huh. It told me I had learned charge, but what it actually meant was I could go and learn charge. Alright, fine, whatever. I think Mr. Pandaria changes that, maybe. We'll find out. We'll find out in a few months. And it's not the end of the world if I don't reach level 85 before Mists of Pandaria comes out, because I can always just continue leveling through here. I just don't want to fall too far behind. And also Fran Corman, that's a cool name for a warrior trainer, for a dwarf warrior trainer. I like that. Okay, so oh, I should have been practicing my charge. Just straight up left. He said, alright, go on, practice your charge. And I gave him a big thumbs up and I left. He was probably very confused. The poor geezer. I said, hey, I like your name. And I walked out the door. Bit touched, that dwarf lad, isn't he? Alright, where are your damn training dummies then? Are they out the front? Oh my god. This is a problem. Whenever you are recording commentary while gaming, part of your brain isn't on the game. There we go. Part of your brain is not on the game, and things which would otherwise be easy and obvious are actually pushed to the back of your brain, and it can become a bit of a problem. Great to meet you. I will. Alright, back to it. We've got enough dwarf artifacts, now we're looking for rockjaw artifacts. Maybe we're doing research on trogs and finding out how they differ to us as a dwarfen species. Dwarfen? Dwarven. My apologies. Die, vile trog. Perish, ye heathen. It's funny as well, because over the years, in retail, they've been slowly updating models for, like, trogs and gnolls and kobolds and all those fellas. And it's fun going back to Cataclysm, because they don't make a big deal about those updates when they do them. They just arrive in patches. As like a little afterthought. Like usually it's because they've reintroduced them in some quest line and they've gone back and updated every model, but it's funny going back in Cataclysm and being like, oh, that's right, they used to be triangular. These trogs used to be some pointy looking fellas, if you'll pardon the terminology. Anyway. Not ready yet. I know some people turn those little voiced error messages off, but I don't mind them. They've never grated on me. I've never really noticed them, if I'm being honest. Alright, we got the Rockjaw artifacts. We didn't dig those ones out of the snow, we dug them out of the corpses, because we're the good guys. Kill the boars, kill the wolves. Pretty standard stuff. But yeah, I've seen some people being like, oh, can't wait for Warlords of Draenor Classic, can't wait for the War Within Classic. And I think it's a shame that people keep making those kind of jokes, because in an ideal world, and I kind of think this is what they're going for, what I want them to do is to keep going throughout every expansion at a decent rate so they don't catch up or anything weird. But just have these era servers going as like progression servers and keep the new servers going. They call them the WoW 20th Anniversary Classic servers, which is a mouthful. They should just change it to Era 2. Call this Era 1, call that Era 2. And then when Era 2 gets to Cataclysm, spin up an Era 3, do the EverQuest thing. Because I think it's a shame that there are expansions and versions of the game that are not playable. Like, for one thing, in terms of video game archivism, it's a shame. But also, you know, obviously Warlords of Draenor is not a popular expansion. Cataclysm was not a popular expansion. But there are gonna be people who have sentimental values attached to each expansion. I find Warlords of Draenor quite a sentimental expansion for me personally, because while I started in Mists, I started near the end of Mists, and that kind of like fascination with World of Warcraft that we all have for the first few years when we discover the game, that was me through Warlords. And while even during Warlords I knew that there were lots of problems with the game and everyone hated garrisons, etc, etc, I spent most of the time leveling alts, exploring other classes, and farming transmog and mounts and stuff. So yeah, oh, we don't need to kill any more wolves, my bad. I do hope that they continue, because I legitimately, I know I am probably in like the 5% of players, I legitimately would like to see Warlords of Draenor Classic, and then Legion Classic, and then, I was talking to a friend about this last night, and they were like, the problem is we already had the Mists of Pandaria remix on retail, and now that it's coming out as Classic, I think people are just going to play through that and realise that it's a worse version of that. But that was a limited time event. And of course you could say that these expansions are kind of limited time events, but they do hang around for like a year or two. I don't actually know the time frame, I don't pay enough attention to Classic. Oh, listen to me, I'm on a ramble. But yeah, I think that this version of the game deserves to have its resurgence with its warts and all, and like how the classes played differently and how the talent system was different and everything. I think, yeah, it's cool. I have a friend at work who said that he tried WoW recently and he could not get into retail just because it's overwhelming. It's got the Destiny 2 starter player problem of you start up and it's like, I mean, okay, if you're a brand new player, I guess it directs you to the Dragonflight campaign and then to the War Within afterwards, which is fine. But just like there's rooms full of portals and other expansions you can go and visit, and you're not going to understand what's going on fully with the story maybe. And he said he actually had a much better time with Classic, and I didn't ask if it was like Classic or Cataclysm Classic, but yeah, I'm thinking when I started with a game in where are these boars, by the way? Where the fuck have they gone? When I started the game in Mists of Pandaria, it was a through line of, and it wasn't perfect, don't get me wrong, but you play Vanilla, you play Burning Crusade, you play Wrath, you play Cata, you play Mists, and then you're caught up. And, you know, because they've sped up the XP rates, you don't exactly play through all of Burning Crusade or all of Wrath or anything like that. And I do like the way time walking works, partially. I think it could be improved upon, of course. Like, include patch content and raids and stuff. But yeah, I think as a starter experience, maybe Cataclysm Classic is the place to point players at. I don't know. It depends on what they care about, I suppose. If they care about narrative, maybe preempt that with, so World of Warcraft's narrative quality fluctuates quite dramatically over the expansions. And fluctuates is the right term because it goes good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, good, bad, etc. But yeah, there you go. There's a ramble on my thoughts on getting into World of Warcraft as a new player, I suppose. When I got into World of Warcraft during Mists, I thought I was late to the game. I was like, this game's probably going to shut down soon because it's so old. I can't believe that's our first ball haunch. What the hell? Whoop. I think we missed each other. But yeah, I was worried that the game was going to shut down soon because it was so old. Clearly I didn't have any kind of understanding of how popular it still was. But it wasn't really talked about in pop culture, I suppose, like it was back when it was vanilla BC and RAF. So obviously that was like 12 years ago now, shudder. And we're still here, so I'm happy. We're still here, and we're actually playing a classic version, almost, of the version that I started with. So I'm happy about that. And again, I hope that they just continue doing this perpetually. I hope we do get a War Within Classic 12 years from now, because by then it will be novel. That's what people don't seem to understand when they make those snide remarks, is, well, no, you obviously don't want it now because it's the current expansion. 12 years from now? Yeah, WoW's going to look and feel a lot different, if it's still around, and it will feel novel to return to the War Within, just like it might feel novel to return to Legion in a few years, if they do that. But hey, that's my 2 cents. That's my, well, 2 pence, I suppose, because I'm not American. We'll take the male one, thanks. I know that's a bold decision to make. Have I not been... I'm sorry. I'm sorry I'm like this. I have not been equipping the new armor as I've been picking it up. Either I pointed it out in editing or I forgot. Anyway, I will keep my feet on the ground, thank you. Whitebeard needs us in Coldridge Valley. First of all, trainer... I don't think you learn anything new at 4, do you? It's like 3, 5, 7, etc. Yeah, alright. See you later, Fran. Enjoy being Fran. Also, I guess I should mention the reason I'm suddenly back on the whole, like, I could literally just record. I could just press record and record a half-hour video. It's a lot less editing work than... And by the way, the edited gameplay videos aren't going anywhere. But it's a lot less work than those are. Like, a lot less work to edit those. Me and Reese played some Halo last night. And he had to go AFK for like half an hour to an hour. And I was like, I can just edit part 1 right now and render it and upload it to the channel and it's done. And it kind of reawoke my interest in making these kinds of videos. I briefly dabbled with this, with the roguelike ramble. I started making roguelike ramble videos which are a bit like this, but I feel like this might just be a good kind of video to add to my repertoire in general. Just like, I don't know if it needs a title for the format specifically, but definitely a little bit more laid back, a little bit more casual, probably less funny than the edited gameplay videos, maybe less engaging, but definitely as like a, you know, here's some middle of the week content maybe. I don't know when I'm going to schedule this for. Might just put it out today on Saturday, then maybe do a part 2 and then schedule it from Wednesday onwards. I don't know, it depends how many of these I want to make. But yeah, it could just be a chill thing like that. How about you have a great day now, alright? How about you have a great day, Felix Windelbolt? What are we doing? When you've played enough WoW, you don't need to read the quest text. You just need to look at the quest objective and find where it is on the map, and you're usually good to go. Which is perhaps not the greatest indictment of WoW's gameplay, but there you go. I think part of the reason it's such a comfort game is because it's so vegetative, I suppose. You can just turn your brain off and go, am I killing you? I am killing you, alright. Sorry, it's a little weird when none of you are actually aggressive. I did briefly consider making a Horde character because I usually roll Alliance and it could be fun to like roll Horde instead, but I thought if I am going to try and get this guy to max level so that I can do Mists of Pandaria when it comes out or shortly after, then I want to do it Alliance. I did a bunch of Horde stuff during the Mists of Pandaria remix as well, so it might be fun to, like, you know, do it as Alliance instead. I kind of don't hold much faith in my ability to reach max level before Mists. There's always the character boost, but that's grossly overpriced, in my opinion. You need to buy, like, the £65 version of the, you know, optional purchase to get it. For the first time, I am slightly tempted to do that, you know, in the eventuality that I do not reach max level, that is. Just because I really do want to experience Mists Classic. But it's just too pricey, in my opinion. Like, the cosmetics are cool, I guess, but I don't love paying out the ass for Blizzard cosmetics. Especially since they did that abhorrent, in my opinion, Brutasaur in the store, which was extraordinarily expensive for what it was actually offering, and was also a gameplay advantage. But we don't need to ramble about that. People have different opinions on that. And if I've learned anything, it's that stating an opinion in a YouTube video is a bad idea, because it will inevitably find someone who disagrees with you, and they will smash that dislike button without a second thought, which is a shame, because it hurts small creators. But whatever. I think there's some story happening right now. Oh my god, they're going to take over Coldridge Valley. The stakes have never been higher. Anyway. Surely they find it cold, right? They're not exactly wearing much. I get that they're Frostmane trolls. Maybe they're, like, cold-blooded or something. Although that would make them more lizardy, right? I did it. I killed the trolls. I think that's going to do it for this part, for this episode. Thank you for joining me and Doric here. I didn't really mention that he's called Doric. It's a dwarven-sounding name, right? I think I'll enjoy that as time goes on. Anyway, thank you very much for joining us, and I will catch you in the next one, I hope.